December 13, 2025. Baghdad marks a turning point. The city, once defined by conflict and uncertainty, now stands at the threshold of a new era. The air is filled with both nostalgia and anticipation as the world watches Iraq take a bold step forward. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres stands with Iraqi leaders to announce the end of the United Nations Assistance Mission for Iraq, or UNAMI. This historic moment is the culmination of years of collaboration, dialogue, and shared determination between the United Nations and the people of Iraq. For 22 years, UNAMI has been a steadfast partner through Iraq's darkest hours and its long road to recovery. From providing humanitarian aid during times of crisis to supporting democratic reforms and rebuilding shattered communities, the mission has left a lasting impact on millions of lives. The closure, requested by Iraq's own government, signals a new era, one where Iraq believes it is ready to stand on its own. This decision reflects growing confidence in the nation's institutions and its ability to shape its own destiny. This is not abandonment, but graduation, a testament to 2 decades of progress and resilience. Iraq's cities are being rebuilt. Schools are filled with hope, and families are looking toward a brighter future. The journey has not been easy, but every step forward has been hard-won. Guterres honors the sacrifices made by Iraqis and UN staff, emphasizing that the relationship now shifts from intensive support to a partnership of equals. The United Nations will remain a friend and ally, but Iraq will lead its own path, guided by the lessons of the past and the promise of the future. Iraq is stepping out of the shadow of war, ready to write its next chapter as a sovereign nation. The energy of its youth, the determination of its leaders, and the spirit of its people are driving a new narrative, one of hope, renewal, and national pride. This is a story of endurance, hope, and a future defined by Iraqis themselves. As the sun rises over Baghdad, the world witnesses a nation embracing its independence, ready to shape its own destiny for generations to come. To truly understand why UNAMI eventually came to an end, we first need to revisit the turbulent circumstances of its creation in 2003. After the US-led invasion toppled Saddam Hussein's regime, Iraq was plunged into chaos. Its government institutions collapsed, society was deeply fractured, and violence erupted across the country. The power vacuum left millions of Iraqis uncertain about their future, and the threat of civil war loomed large. In this desperate environment, the newly formed Iraqi Governing Council, along with the international coalition, urgently appealed to the United Nations for assistance in rebuilding the nation and restoring order. The UN Security Council responded by establishing the United Nations Assistance Mission for Iraq, UNAMI. Its purpose was to guide Iraq towards stability, help lay the foundations for democracy, and support the country's recovery. UNAMI's initial mission was ambitious: to help Iraqis draft a new constitution, organize and oversee the first post-war elections, and ensure that the political process was inclusive and fair. Beyond politics, UNAMI worked to foster national reconciliation, acting as a neutral advisor, not a ruler, and encouraging dialogue among Iraq's divided communities. Despite grave dangers, including a rising insurgency and frequent attacks, UN staff pressed on with their mission, fully aware that their work was vital to prevent Iraq from descending into all-out civil war. Over time, UNAMI's mandate expanded to address new challenges, supporting security sector reform, promoting human rights, and delivering humanitarian aid to those most in need. The creation of UNAMI was ultimately an act of hope, a belief that, even amid devastation and uncertainty, the international community could help Iraqis build a peaceful and stable future. UNAMI's story is forever marked by tragedy, and none more so than the devastating events of August 2003. On August 19, 2003, a massive truck bomb tore through the UN's Baghdad headquarters at the Canal Hotel. The explosion killed 22 people, including the mission's respected head, Sergio Vieira de Mello, and left more than 100 others wounded. The blast reduced the building to rubble, shattering the sense of safety for international staff and Iraqis alike. This attack was a brutal attempt to drive the United Nations out of Iraq, targeting those who had come to help rebuild a nation, not to wage war. The violence sent shockwaves through the international community, highlighting the dangers faced by those working for peace. In the aftermath, the UN was forced to scale back its presence in Iraq. Offices were abandoned and many staff were evacuated for their safety. But despite the immense loss and fear, the organization did not abandon its mission or the Iraqi people. Instead, the tragedy deepened the mission's resolve. UN staff regrouped in temporary offices, determined to continue their work under even more challenging conditions. Their commitment to rebuilding and supporting Iraq only grew stronger. The memory of those lost became a promise, a solemn vow that their sacrifice would not be in vain. Each year, memorials are held to honor their courage and dedication. The Canal Hotel bombing became a symbol of the risks and costs of peacebuilding, and a testament to the UN's determination to stand by Iraq no matter the danger. The mission continued, more committed than ever to helping Iraq emerge from darkness, and to building a future shaped by hope, resilience, and the enduring spirit of those who gave their lives for peace. For 2 decades, UNAMI worked through Iraq's most turbulent times, from civil war to the rise of ISIL. Its efforts were often quiet, advising on legal reforms, supporting security sector changes, and building trust between Iraq's fractured communities. UNAMI played a vital role in national reconciliation, mediating between Sunnis, Shias, Kurds, and minorities. It tackled tough issues like disputed territories and oil sharing, helping to prevent disputes from turning violent. During the ISIL crisis, UNAMI coordinated humanitarian aid for millions displaced and documented atrocities for future accountability. Much of this work was unseen, but it was essential for Iraq's recovery. UNAMI's steady presence helped Iraq move from crisis to rebuilding. Supporting Iraq's democratic transition was central to UNAMI's mission. The UN helped build Iraq's electoral system from scratch, advising on everything from voter registration to ballot counting. In 2005, Iraqis defied violence to vote for a new future, with UNAMI guiding and monitoring the process. Over the years, the mission shifted from hands-on assistance to an advisory role as Iraqi institutions matured. UNAMI mediated disputes, promoted inclusion of women and minorities, and helped legitimize election outcomes. Beyond elections, it fostered political dialogue, encouraging negotiation over confrontation. Quiet diplomacy kept Iraq's political process moving, even in crisis. By nurturing compromise, UNAMI laid the groundwork for a more stable political system. UNAMI's end is a story of success. Iraq itself requested it, confident in its own stability. The UN Security Council agreed, setting December 31, 2025 as the final date. Iraq has overcome immense challenges: ISIL's defeat, maturing political institutions, and improved security. Regular elections, peaceful transitions, and economic reforms show a country ready to lead itself. UNAMI was always meant to be temporary. Its departure means its mission is accomplished. Iraq is now the master of its own destiny. At the closing ceremony, UN Secretary General Guterres and Iraqi Prime Minister al-Sudani celebrated Iraq's transformation. Guterres declared Iraq a normal country, no longer defined by conflict, but by resilience and peace. He honored the sacrifices of Iraqis and UN staff, affirming that Iraq's era of crisis is over. Al-Sudani echoed this optimism, calling the end of UNAMI a new chapter of cooperation. He announced a Baghdad street would be named United Nations Street, honoring the partnership and those lost in 2003. Their statements made clear, the mission ends because its goal is achieved. Iraq stands on its own, ready for the future. The UN isn't leaving Iraq, it's evolving its role. The focus shifts from political intervention to development and humanitarian support, led by specialized UN agencies. The UN country team will now support Iraq's priorities: governance, economic diversification, climate action, health and education. Continued cooperation will help Iraq address lingering challenges, from human rights to reintegration of displaced citizens. The partnership is now about empowering Iraq to lead its own development. The UN will provide expertise and resources, but Iraq sets the vision. This is a balanced, sustainable model for a nation reclaiming its place on the world stage. The end of UNAMI is more than a bureaucratic milestone, it's a symbol of hope. Iraq's story is shifting from survival to revival as the world recognizes its resilience and progress. Young Iraqis now see a future beyond conflict. Baghdad's streets are alive with possibility. Challenges remain, but Iraq faces them as a sovereign nation with tested institutions. The UN's development agencies will remain partners, but Iraqis will lead the way. This transition empowers Iraq to shape its own destiny. The end of UNAMI proves that peace and renewal are possible, even after the darkest times. As the UN flag is lowered, a new chapter of hope begins for Iraq, a nation ready to embrace its future.